this world that's filled with so much noise and information, how do we really stand out and be who we were really meant to be? In this podcast, we focus on injecting you with positivity, optimism, and strategies, all centered around helping you be who you were always meant to be in business and life. Be inspired to show up in your own skin to learn strategies, habits, and skills from others as we share our own life journeys and stories. There's no other you, and you know yourself better than anyone else. So be prepared to take away habitual tidbits, tactics that will encourage you to pursue and live your life, not the one others want you to live. Welcome to Stand Out Be You, where you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be you. Welcome back to Stand Out Be You. I'm Tequila, Dodard, your host, and you are listening to another episode where I bring to you the stories of solopreneurs and small business owners who are making an impact in their own way within our communities. I'm super excited to be here with you today with another solopreneur and their story. As you know, Stand Out Be You is about capturing the story of you, and I have here with us today Divya Parekh. What I loved about Divya is how modest she is in her accomplishments. She has dozens of books where you can go to Amazon right now and see them all. She is helping others define their genius and monetize their message. I met Divya during an online writing challenge to which she is hosting inside the Stand Out Be You community. If you haven't yet joined the community, go to tequiladodard.com/community to join us. Divya is helping individuals write books to build their authority in order to make a bigger impact within their industry. Okay, enough of me telling you about her. Let's go ahead and hear from Divya and how she started her journey into the entrepreneurial world. Divya, welcome to Stand Out Be You. Tell us a little bit more about you and what you do.
So first of all, thank you, Tequila, for having me on your show. It's such a pleasure, especially we have talked before and you're just a wonderful person. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I will just share a Reader's Digest version of my story. Not that I'm that ancient. Folks, don't worry, I'm not from the dinosaur age. I'm from this generation. So I come from a science background with a biochemistry, curiosity. Since I was young, I was always very curious. How did the body work? How did the brain work? And that chemistry behind it always intrigued me. And I went into biopharmaceuticals, research labs, running multi-million-dollar projects, and leading groups of 50 to 60 people on a given day with a lot of moving targets, but a lot of fun. Because at the end of everything, there was a patient waiting patiently for our medications. So I was very fortunate to have worked in that industry where I was part of bringing 4 life-changing medications to the market. And, they would show these beautiful movies where the patients found our medications to be life-changing and, their whole life changed. So that's what kept me going, because what I found is that when you have a why that's bigger than who you are, then the how just happens. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen. It keeps on pushing you through the obstacles. Whenever you're ready to give up, your why pulls you out. It makes you get up and going. So from that, I transitioned into coaching industry. And as part of coaching industry, I've been coaching across 90 countries. Been really fortunate. I've coached thousands of people from all walks of life, from leaders and entrepreneurs and executives. Because think about it, doesn't matter, right, who you are. We are all ordinary. And I say that each and every one of us ordinary in the sense we are connected by desires to be happy, by desire to have that freedom of time, have the life we desire. Basically, every person's dream is the same if you kind of get to the basics of it. However, that said, each and every one of us brings that unique experience, brings that unique essence, which makes us extraordinary. So think about it, folks. My definition of extraordinary is different. We all are ordinary, but each and every one of us adds that little extra to it. And that's what makes us extraordinary. And now, after my life's river has been traversing through different paths, I've been through business leadership coaching, where what I help people, regardless whether you're an entrepreneur or you are a coach or you are a consultant, especially if you're running your own business, it's so important to think like a CEO. It's so important to bring out your genius because each and every one of us has that, right? Tequila, what your experience is, I don't have it. What I have in my experience, nobody has it. So each and every one of us has that extra of the extraordinary. So if we bring that out in the open, think about how much of a difference you can make, what impact you can create, how much influence you can create. So basically, as a business leadership coach, what I've done is my desire is to make an impact in the world. And we do that using different tools. And entrepreneurs are a breed that in the profession to make a difference, it's not just about going in, making money. It's mostly about the passion. As far as I can share with you is that, I've had the fortune to meet so many wonderful entrepreneurs that at the core of their business, at the core of their heart is that desire and passion to make that impact. As a business leadership coach, we do that through different venues because now think about it. Now you're extraordinary, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, if nobody knows about you, then you cannot help people. So the key is not only to bring out your genius, and after you have brought out your genius in the form of a message that is compelling and captivating your audience, after that, it's important to get yourself out there using that marketing platform that is just right for you and building those relationships. So this is such a beautiful relationship example of you and I. So Tequila, we connected through a writing challenge, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up because you just talked about the genius and you talked about bringing out what your specialty is, and no one is like you. We met. I don't know how I ended up in your writing challenge, but it was great because you were really uplifting everyone inside of that group differently based on what their skill set is and based on what their gift was. And everyone has a gift, and I believe everyone has something to share. So inside of that writing challenge, it was great. And you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, absolutely. So folks, one of the tools that help us shine our genius, and one of the tools that helps us get there, out there, to be known as an expert and also to establish yourself as an authority in the industry, is writing a book, because there's nothing like writing a book. So one of my clients calls me the OBGYN. She tells me, you're my OBGYN and you helped me deliver my child after we did the first book with her. So think about it, how a child is precious. Similarly, a book is precious. And when you're bringing that book to the world, not only you are evolving as a person, but also what's happening is you are connecting with your reader. You're forming that relationship. And also it's so much easier to build that trust because let me tell you, after doing a survey of several hundred entrepreneurs, one of the things that has emerged is that one of the reasons for business failure is lack of trust with the audience, lack of connection, which is human connection. We're losing that touch. So the book allows you to do that because if the book is written in the right way, if the book is representative of who you are, then your reader is going to say, this is me. And of course, you don't want everybody in the world. You cannot work with everyone. So that's what the writing challenge is about, is getting you started. Because 90% of the time, people don't get started because of the fear. And writing challenge, what it does is, it gets you started. And once you get started, there is that momentum and that helps you keep going.
Now, you said, I did read more in detail about what you provide. You provide like a simple system that draws out that compelling essence that people have and that passion. How do you go about doing that?
So as you say, it's about a simple system because let me share a story. So when I started out, I had given myself almost, I think so, I don't recall exactly how much time, but 3 or 4 years to transition out from my corporate life into entrepreneurship. And because I was earning a great salary, I did not have to worry about it. I did a lot of volunteer work as well to help a lot of different entrepreneurs, women, and people in areas where they don't get the different opportunities. So I was recognized by several different leadership groups and all that. And I was even awarded the Women VIP of the Year. So somebody reached out to me and said that, Divya, we would love to have you publish your story with us as about your vision and everything. So I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's a book. I've written all the reports for FDA and I've done so much. What's writing a chapter? It's just going to be easy peasy. But let me tell you, oh my Lord, it was a nightmare. So fast forward, what I did was, I'm a person, coming from a science background and the scientist mindset. I went ahead and dug. And I'm a person, I connect with people who are already where I want to be, because I find that that's the shortest way to success. I mean, technically there are no shortcuts, but if you connect with somebody who's already traveled the road before you, who has already made the mistakes, taken those tumbles and got up, it's almost like, they've been there, done that, and they're still doing it. Yeah. So I connected with world-class leaders, and even as of today, I've got 2 great coaches. So as we were doing, I started writing a book. First book was, like, as I mentioned, it was, however, after that, I started finishing up my books quite fast. And my coach said, Divya, looks like you have a system right here. So basically the system is, it's very simple. It is about connecting with your experiences. It's about pulling your essence out. It's a personalized system. And what it does is that it gives you the liberty to be in charge. You are in the driver's seat at all times. And when you are in the driver's seat at all times and you have the desire of commitment, that system will help you walk through the steps. And it's really easy. I mean, like, as of today, I've taken over 100 authors to having their published books, as well as to best-selling authors. And because of the system, it's repeatable, it's very consistent with very predictable results. And what it does is, because it is focused on your personal solution, it's almost like going to a doctor, right? It's a prescribed formula. When you go to the doctors, you tell them, like, this is what's happening, and they will give you either a drug specific to your ailment or a combination of things. The treatment is just for you. And that's how you get better. So similarly for this, it is for your situation. So that's why the system works really beautifully.
Yeah, it was just from my experience from being inside. No, you said everyone has a book inside of them, right? And you're just like, where do I start? How do I get it out? And with your system, it was very easy to think about that. But that's the thing, is just getting it done and complete it. But I love the process that you were taking all of us through. And I'm excited for you to do it inside of the Faces of Collaboration, the Standout BU Facebook group next month. So tell me, what's been your biggest struggle, Divya, with your business and getting all this started?
Let me tell you, the biggest struggle was in the beginning, where I was trying to do everything on my own. I would not delegate it out. And I was trying to wear all the hats. And here's the thing. Now, this is, of course, a thing from the good old bygone days. Now I've learned my lesson and I don't repeat the same mistake again. I'm making new mistakes, but I learn from them and adjusting and correcting the course as we go along. So the key was everything was, it is my baby. Everything is mine. So I wanted to do everything. And also I could not see other people giving the same attention. But the biggest mistake I found in that was that I was not good at everything. And I was trying to do everything. I was trying to be the accountant. I was trying to be the copywriter. I was trying to be the graphic designer. I was trying to be social media person. I was trying to be everything, basically. The coach, I'm trying to have the sales acquisition team and the marketing. And with that, what happened was that my business was not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then as I started working with my coaches, the beauty of having a coach by your side is that they'll be able to show you your blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
And let me share a story with you about Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is one of my heroes, and he is considered to be like in top 5%. I've had the fortune to work with him, and I've had the fortune to meet him in person and listen to him. So I was in a LA conference, and I was a fairly new entrepreneur stepping into the world. So it doesn't matter how good you have been in the corporate world, but now when you step into the new world, life is different.
Very different.
Very different. And you're still hesitant, you're not that confident. So I'm sitting here on this table with these phenomenal entrepreneurs who have been in business, and according from what I've heard, as we were talking to each other, that these were like 7-figure business owners. And, as we started talking, and I shared with them, oh, you know what? Initially I started doing things on my own. I wasn't doing that great. And now I've got 2 coaches. Things are going well. And it's so wonderful to have invested in myself. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because, and the reason why this is so important for our listeners is because I care deeply that other people don't make the same mistakes that I've done. So coming back to the story, they started looking at me like, oh, she needs 2 coaches? Nah, she doesn't have much. So basically, I could feel an invisible barrier go against, just like that. We're still sitting at the table, but here I was first oh, she's from corporate and she has got all this great experience, run multi-million-dollar projects. And so there was almost we were at the same level. And now it's okay. No, she's not of our caliber. She's not of our type. She's not of our ilk. Kind of almost shunning, without, but
without
the body language, without saying it, the body language will say it all. So now we all settle down and everything starts, and Brian Tracy starts talking, and he is at the peak of his game, okay? Gosh, he has probably been in 70 countries and spoken so many, and people really idolize Brian Tracy. I mean, he's as great as a person as he's a leader and as an entrepreneur. So he says that, to this day, I have 7 coaches. And oh my goodness, you should have seen, there was pin drop silence. Nobody's looking at me. And it was just amazing to see that. So what was going through my head back then was that, that it's okay. They are where they are at. I'm where I'm at. And it's okay if that's who they want to be. That's all right. So even though the negative chatter was coming in my head,
you decided to stand out differently.
Yes, I decided to stand out. Exactly. And that's what I wanted to share with you. And you know what? Sometimes, folks, you may not get external validation, but it's important to follow your dream and follow your heart.
It comes in different ways. I mean, everyone is different, and everyone goes about their journey differently than this other person may go about their journey. But it all comes back to your message. And speaking of message, one of the things that you help individuals do is monetize their message. And how do you go about doing that?
It's such a great question. Let's take a look at it, right? You may have baked potatoes. However, you need a dash of salt and pepper to make it right and make it something good. You got to add things to it. So how I help people monetize the message is that, every one of us has the message. So first of all, we make it very, very clear and succinct. So when your audience is listening to you, they know Tequila is my gal. I connect with her. So when people connect with you, we go about it authentically. It's about, bringing your genuineness out. So that's the first step. And then the second step is creating the marketing platform that is right for you. And I'm not just talking about having your branding colors and having your website and logo done. So that is only one aspect of it. But going into depth and creating a platform that speaks about you, that makes you stand out. And then the third thing is building strategic relationships. So for example, this is a perfect example. You and I, right? You have me on your podcast. And immediately, there was another opportunity that was going on where somebody shared with me that, we need a couple of articles for this month. I immediately thought of Tequila. Why? Because this is the relationship building.
Yeah.
So the best part of it is it's all based on humanistic principles. So you would never feel that you're selling. You would never feel that you are not living up to who you are. You would never feel that you are giving away your core values. And when you come from that place, Tequila, that shine and that love and the passion in your heart, it just gets like, boom.
You feel good.
You feel good. And when you feel good, then what happens? Magic happens.
Yeah.
And people see it. People see that you're different.
And people, I think, at this moment, and we kind of talked about this on another one of our calls before, is things are changing and connections is very important. And it's kind of where I've taken a little bit of a shift, and you've seen that inside of even my group. I'm like, I want to shift and make this differently. I want us to make meaningful connections and build meaningful relationships with each other. So definitely, I agree with you. When you do that, the magic does start to happen and things start to occur differently for you. Takes more than you. Takes more than one person, right?
It takes more than one person. It's also important to have the right strategy. Here's the thing, right? You can either throw the seeds and then wait for which seed is going to take hold, which seed is going to take root, and what's going to come up. Or what you can do is you can strategically pick your own patch and fertilize it properly. And then, okay, you know what? I'm just throwing out like a science experiment.
I love the science in you.
Let's say by 12 by 12, I'm going to put in so many seeds, and the expected and the statistics and the data is that, out of those, let's say in the 12 by 12 inch, I'm going to seed 50 seeds. Then the statistics show that, maybe 12 seeds will germinate. So if you do it statistically, if you add the dash of reality and practicality to the passion, that's when the power happens. Because, to be profitable and to have that consistent and predictable results, it's really important to have that mix of left and right brain.
Yeah. So if someone's listening right now to this show, this episode, and they, like, let's say they're in the 9 to 5 and they really want to do something different. You come from corporate, I come from corporate, and maybe they even want to start this as something on the side. What would you recommend, like the first 2 or 3 things that they do?
Great question, Tequila. So the first thing I would do is, find out what's your why. It's so important. Because that's what's going to help you transition into the entrepreneurship. And I would say don't jump straight out from your corporate job. Just don't leave and then say that, no, I'm going for my dream. Have a transition plan in place. So first of all, find out what's your why. And that why has to be bigger than you. Yeah. So I'll share with you, my why is I want to make an impact, period. And now you may say, oh, you know what? Everybody says that. What's so cool about when you are saying it? I genuinely want to make an impact. And folks, I'll share with you, you can go and take a look at it. There are not many people whose profits from their books, not all the profits, but quite a bit of profits are going to Kiva or to something. Now, another thing I will share with you, I mentor a robotics team, and we have figured out on Amazon, and I do not have the link, but I will definitely share the link with you. If you go into Amazon Smile, some portion, it's maybe 2 cents, 5 cents is going to go back to them. And then that allows us to help children who may not have the opportunity to see robotics and STEM opportunities where usually robotics cost thousands of dollars. It allows us to help. It may not be that many kids, but it begins with one person. Yeah. So allow them to get those opportunities and move forward. So to me, my why is much bigger than that. I am not saying even when I started out, because my why was bigger, I did not say, you know what, I'm going to make millions of dollars and then I'm going to help people out. If your why is bigger than you, you'll find ways to include your why in your day-to-day business. And then I'll share one very quick story. May I?
Yes, absolutely.
So one time, I was with my robotics team and we had gone for an outreach. So we were in an area where these kids did not, I mean, they come from an area where they don't get a whole lot of opportunities that many other kids get. So there was this young girl, probably 6th or 7th grade, and all the boys, we had taken Lego kits. All the boys were down on the floor and they're going, going away and just doing it. And there's this girl standing there. And I could see that curiosity in her eyes and that desire, like, I want to get down on the floor too. But that lack of confidence was there, that she could not take that 2 steps to sit down and do it. So here's the opportunity, but she could not do it. So I went to her and I said, "What's your name?" And her name was Lindsay. And I said, "Lindsay, do you think you can help me out? Because I don't feel really great sitting down with all these boys. So if you can help me, get me started, that would be great." So she looked at me. "Oh yeah, I'll get you started, Miss Divya." We introduced ourselves. We sat down. And it was just that one little step, my friends. She sat down and she just went at it. Like, I cannot tell you, more than any of the other boys. She was finishing it up. She had this aptitude. And then when I saw that she was doing well, she was all fully taken care of, I said, "Lindsay, do you think I can go and talk to some other parents?" And she said, "Yeah, go ahead." And I was talking with other parents and got busy, because I knew that she was good. She was getting exposure. And I was telling the other parents what our program is about. Like, we do community outreaches, that how they can start robotics in their school. It doesn't take a whole lot to do that. And I find 2 little arms coming and hugging me. And I tell you folks, that was one of the best moments in my life. I felt the richest woman on the face of the earth. So that is my big why, that you find ways. It's not about, okay, when I have this money, that's when I'll do it. But when you have that real why, you'll find ways to include that as part of your life, and that becomes the fuel.
And the universe realigns itself for you to be able to have these things happen, because opportunities come and present themselves to you when you didn't even know that opportunity was right there around the corner. So one of the things is having a big why, but what I also heard in there from Lindsay, the story you told us, is the confidence to step out and do it. Because with entrepreneurship or starting something on your own, a lot of people kind of hold back because of the confidence to just, and if they just make that one step.
So finishing up the circle, Tequila, that's what I wanted to say is that, if it's in your heart, find out your why, first step. Second is make a plan. And third, I would highly recommend is find somebody who's already done what you have done, because that will cut short your time, your misery and everything, because they've traveled the road before.
They've traveled it before. I love that. What a great way to bring us to this next part of the show, where we get into getting a little bit more into your personality. And we like to get to know you more. So the first question is, if you could go back, and we just talked about Lindsay, talk to your 10-year-old self about life, what would you tell yourself?
So I gotta tell you, I was very fortunate. I had a set of parents who just pushed us. There was no gender limitations for us, that you're a girl, you cannot do it. Just go and do it. So what I would tell my younger self was, there were a couple of things that I did not do. So for example, I wanted to be a pilot. But at that point in time, my mom had just 2 or 3 years before that, she was having heart issues and all that. And she said, "Oh, every time you go fly, I'm going to have issues." So I held myself back thinking that, that would happen. But if I had sat down with her and really told her that, "Mom, this is really my true desire," if she had seen the commitment, I'm not saying that now I want to go and do that, but who knows where my life would have been. I do not have any regrets for my life. Everything's been an adventure and a learning, but I would say step out. That's what I would say. That step out of that comfort zone, lean into discomfort.
Very good. Very good. So what's the furthest city that you've traveled to from your birthplace? So where were you born, and what's the furthest you've traveled?
I was born in India, and I've traveled to US, New York.
Yeah.
So around probably, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 miles. Not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's far. It's on the other side.
Yeah.
Now, this next one's fun. If you could be any animal in the world, what animal would you be and why?
Dolphin.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, dolphin is playful. They're very intelligent. They support others. You know how they will go and save people, and they work in pods. They're not solitary animals. So I would be actually 3 animals, and all of these 3 are like very close to my heart. So one is dolphin. The second is elephant.
We've had quite a bit that like elephants on the show.
And third would be horses, because horses like, freedom, just kind of running, being themselves. So it's like, I love elements from each of the 3 animals, some of the things that kind of makes me up.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then the last one is the meaning behind your name. We're given our name from the day that we were born. And so what's the meaning behind your name? What does your name meant for you?
My name, as I was I was told that it means celestial light. And for me, the name has got no meaning. I'll tell you that, because name is not who I am.
Yeah.
To me, the way I see it is that who I am today, if I define myself like I'm a business leadership coach, maybe 30 years down the road, when I'm old and I'm sitting in a rocking chair, I'm not going to be that. But my soul, my essence, my spirit, my desire to make an impact, that's not going to change. And to me, that's who I am. That connection that I build with the people and the joy that comes out of it, right? It's just so precious. You cannot find it anywhere. And building those connections and making a difference and creating an impact. And anytime you touch somebody, even if it's just a smile, folks.
Yeah.
And you know that person is carrying that with them somewhere.
Even if it's just to sit in silence. I just saw this the other day of a scientist who was doing this, having individuals that were in complicated situations sit down in front of each other and just be silent and look. And what I got from that, and they would sit there for about 2-3 minutes, and someone would get so emotional. But if we stop today and just become aware of other people around us and just look at them straight in the eye, give eye contact, we can see the soul of that person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Divya, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show. Do you have any final parting words for the listeners here today?
Yes. I just want to share with you folks that we are the caretakers. We are not the owners of this earth, or for anything for that matter, right? So think about in a bigger picture. You are there for a reason, and there are next generations to come. So think about what is it that you can live right now to help others. And then I always say 2 things, right? Legacy has got 2 parts. One is live your legacy as you are right now. And second is leave your legacy for the next generations to come. So just kind of think about that.
Perfect. And Divya's inside of the Faces of Collaboration, the Standout BU Community Facebook group, and she's going to be hosting that amazing writing challenge that I've had the opportunity to participate in. So you can come and join both of us inside the community. Divya, it's been such a pleasure to have you on. Everyone that's listening, remember to stand out, be you, and that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. Until next time, chat soon. Always wanted to write a book? Well, you know the saying, everyone has a book inside of them. If you have always wanted to write a book, however, have never been quite sure where to start or even how to start, then go to tequiladodard.com/write a book to help obtain the strategies to help get your book out of your head to paper and into the hands of others.